Oh, we're on. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, some dark stuff's happening, right? Some dark stuff's happening. Now, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that have been revealed in the Epstein files, There's no other way I can put this, but satanic rituals have been revealed in the Epstein files. Now, I'm putting it to you. I'm putting it to everyone on this live stream. Maybe you're watching later on in the day. Maybe you're joining for the first time. I don't know. But whatever you're joining, make sure you hit those buttons down below. So I'm going to start. I'm just going to go into it, guys. All right. When I'm doing this monologue, right, I'm thinking about this, and it's hard for me to even it's hard for me. My logical brain is saying there must be another explanation, right? My logical brain is saying no. This must all be like there must be a logical explanation to this. Absolutely, there's got to be a logical explanation to these emails. And let me be quite clear. I debunk a lot of stuff myself. The child trafficking in Ukraine, what I'm going to say about the child trafficking in Ukraine is that, and I would love to speak to this guy, Andrew Bridgen. I really would, guys. I'd like to speak to him one-on-one, and I'd like to do a podcast with him. But when we talk about child trafficking from Ukraine, the first thing I've looked into this, and a lot of the people that are on that, there's been people named. I'm not going to mention them here. You guys can search for it yourself. I know a lot of those people, first name terms. They know me. We've been for beers. I can probably call them now. I've got maybe 2 or 3 of them on my phone. And I can pretty much guarantee that they are not involved in child trafficking. I'm not saying that child trafficking is not going on. It may be. I'm not counting anything out. And I never would. I would never say definitively that's not happening, because I don't know. That's the reality. I don't know. But when I see these well put together articles about child trafficking from Ukraine, this guy here, so they mention his name. They say, look, he's this guy. He's running this and he's doing this. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I've known him for like 15 years, and I know that's not him. So like in my head, I'm debunking a lot of this stuff. Also, when I see UFO stuff, I debunk a lot of that itself. One thing that keeps, like the crop circles, right? And they're all circular. One thing that I can't debunk and I can't not see, and I'm seeing it everywhere now, is the amount of celebrities that talk about eating pizza. I can't not see that, guys. I can't not see that. So yes, you've got these conspiracies and wild stuff and these emails, and we don't know what these emails are. I, with my own eyes, have seen lots and lots and lots of celebrities openly. Yeah, we're going to have pizza. We're going to have pizza. You want to come and have pizza? Yeah, you did a great pizza. We shared a great pizza. Remember that pizza we shared? And I'm like, okay, right. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? So I'm going to do this live stream. I'm going to do this opening monologue from the context of, I'm going to try and debunk as much as possible. And what I will say is, and look, guys, I'm not saying this is not happening. I just want to look at this as objectively as possible, without going down any silly routes where people are floating and all. I don't want to go down that road, okay? I want to try and ground these alleged, because remember, we've only been issued emails, right? Emails and photos. We don't know the context of that. We don't know the context. And why, I've said this a few times. If you guys see my emails and my the messages I send to my friends and stuff, you guys would have a field day unless you put that in context, right? When I used to work in Ukraine when I first went out there and I was being vetted by the Ukrainian government, Every time somebody phoned me up, or I would just say, I'd answer, if it was one of my friends, I'd say, weapon of mass destruction, dirty bomb, jihad, terrorist, jihad, Allah. You know, I would just say wild words on the phone because I knew people were listening. So we do have to take things into context, right? We have to take everything into context. We are being released single emails and we're trying to piece together what that means, right? However, ladies and gentlemen, there is no denying that some wild stuff is happening in the world. There's no denying that we are heading for wild times, whether it's World War III, World War IV, Civil War, uncivil war, total global shift. There's a total global shift coming. So the crux of this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be, hang on. I had meat lovers. I didn't think I would order another. This is it. Listen, guys, when we're talking about pizzas and stuff, right? I get like, you know, well, I worry now when I go and order a pizza. You know when it's like when the girls are having a sleepover at the weekend, like, oh, Daddy, can we have a pizza? I'm like, no, have a kebab. So, right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to jump onto my opening monologue, right? And then I will jump onto the chat and we'll see where we go. But the crux of this live stream is satanic rituals, and there's no denying that, have been revealed in the Epstein files. And whether you believe this or whether you do not believe this, it doesn't matter, because the conclusion is the same. Something darker is happening. Something dark is happening. We're either being led down a road to believe that some sort of satanic rituals are happening. Why? Or actual satanic rituals are happening, right? So they're your binary solutions. Right, let's just get onto this, guys. Let's get onto this. So, if you're anywhere in the world right now, literally wherever you are in the world, scrolling through your phone or your tablet or maybe on your computer, you've seen the headlines exploding across social media, across the tabloids, literally everywhere. You can't hide from this now. You can't hide from it. Epstein files, millions of pages dumped by the US Department of Justice under their Transparency Act, has ignited the darkest corners of the internet. And I really mean that. And look, I need to keep saying this. When I'm doing this live stream, I want to try and debunk as much of this stuff as I can. I really do, because I don't believe this stuff is happening. But equally, if the evidence is there, I'll say the likelihood is that it is happening. Right at the center of it are the wild claims that Jeffrey Epstein's network went straight to, and we're just going to go straight to satanic rituals and occult practices and demonic worship. I'm going there, guys. We are going there. Why? Because that's where the evidence is taking us. I can remember, again, like, when I talk about child trafficking out of Ukraine, one of my friends who's, hang on, can I say this? No, I can't say that because it might incriminate him. So hang on. How do I say this without saying it? A good friend of mine, told me not to get involved in searching the war crimes in Ukraine, right? The war crimes. So, and I said to him, what do you mean? He says, don't go down this path, mate, because it will hollow you out as a man. I said, what do you mean? I'm the hard as nails. He said, no, mate, once you start uncovering this stuff, there's no going back. And that's where I think I am now, but I'm just doing it online. I'm just reading this stuff online and using my, the skills I've learned through the military, the analytic observations, to give you guys what I think. There's no denying it now. Satanic rituals, occult practices, and demon worship. People are losing their minds over it, and rightly so, calling it proof of an elite cabal involved in the most horrific stuff imaginable. Right. So let me just walk you through, all right, what these actually what's in these files, and why it's sparking a frenzy. And let me keep saying this, right? I've not seen anything definitive. I've not seen anything definitive. For me, and I mentioned this, for me, the most definitive thing I've seen was a picture of two chickens. Yeah. Hear me out. The most definitive thing I've seen was a picture of two chickens and something blanked out in between those two chickens. I don't know what was blanked out. I know what the comments say, but that for me is that's clearly a smoking gun, right? First off, the big one everybody's talking about, the financial document showing a wire transfer request for £9,000 or like just over $11,000 to an account labeled Ball. Now, I don't know if you guys know or not, but Ball, as you might remember from school, or if you've ever, he's a god tied to child, the thing that everybody's been accused to in on the Epstein files. Yeah, he's a god that is accused of doing that sort of stuff to children in the Old Testament. Burnt offerings, fertility rites, gone wrong, the lot. Conspiracy circles are going ballistic. Epstein had a bank account named after a demon who did real bad things to children. And they're saying that this proves satanic rituals, human sacrifice, the word that I can't say, the whole Luciferian elite. There's videos on YouTube, on TikTok. They're racking millions of views, linking it to adrenochrome myths, Pizzagate, and claims that there are a powerful elite ready to sell their souls for power and immortality. So, if this is true, right? If this is true, where's the hard evidence? Where is the hard evidence? You would think that if this sort of stuff is happening, I'm not saying it's not, guys. I'm not saying it's not. I was, before the Epstein files came out, you hear all this stuff, don't you? And you read it, you watch it, because it's good content, right? You don't think it's really happening. You're like, yeah, that's not happening. Not a chance. I don't see how another human being could do that. I don't. Like, if I saw that happening, I would go full 2006. So, when I first started hearing about this Pizzagate stuff, it was like fringe. It's like, yeah, oh, God, yeah, oh, God, yeah, ooh, yeah. Listen to that one, hey, mate, listen to this, yeah, fucking hell. But now the Epstein files have been released. It could be a psyop. The whole thing could be a psyop. I don't know. I've not been to Epstein Island. Although, I've not been to Epstein Island. Although I did a video on TikTok or whatever. I don't know if I posted it on YouTube. I did a video on TikTok. And I literally asked AI to generate a photorealistic image of an email. Literally 30 seconds. It took me 30 seconds and it said, "Hi, Raven. Thanks for coming to the island," or something. "Your hair was fantastic. See you next time, Jeffrey Epstein." If I can do that with 30 seconds, of course, these images can be faked. And I'm not saying they're faked. I need to keep caveating that. I can tell those people in the chat saying, "No, it's real, it's real." I don't know, right? I don't know. I'm not saying it's not. And then there's the Cabba cloth business. Emails from 2017 show an Emirati businesswoman, Aziza Al-Ahmadi, arranging to ship 3 pieces of the kiswa, the sacred black and gold embroidered cloth that covers the Kaaba in Mecca. So for you guys who don't know, it's the big, so what they all walk around, the big cube. Remember, a cube is representative of Satan. That's the reality, guys. A cube is representative of Satan. This is Islam's holiest site. So, you know, why would Epstein, and again, we don't know what's real, right? I don't know what's real. Why would Jeffrey Epstein, who's Jewish, be asking for relics from Islam's holiest site? I don't know. She describes how one piece was touched by millions of pilgrims during the Tawaf, carrying prayers, tears, and hopes. Why would Jeffrey Epstein want a sacred Islamic artifact? What that says to me, if this is true, I don't know if it is true, what that says to me is, if this is true, right? I don't think it is. I want to think of I want to try and find a logical answer or explanation. If this is true, right, then there is no religious identity for these people, right? There's no religious identity. They're all over the place. They don't care. That's what I would say. There are fringe voices. Some fringe voices are shouting black magic, desecrating holy items to mock God, to fuel demonic rituals, or invert religious power for satanic ends. I wouldn't say that, guys. That's what wild people on the internet are saying. Remember, I'm trying to regulate this in fact. Muslim commentators online are horrified, speculating it was for some twisted occult purpose rather than just collecting artwork, as the shipping labeled it. Add that to the fresh federal lawsuit filed late January by South Florida attorney Travis Walker on behalf of a Jane Doe victim. She claims she was trafficked to Little St. James Island, you know the infamous island, Devil's Island, as some people are calling it, in 2018 under false pretenses. The lawyer has gone public saying documents suggested occult activity. His client was allegedly recruited through what she thought was a religious group, but it was a sinister and definitely not Christian. No explicit details about the lawsuit, no official details about any rituals, no official details about any unaliving of people. But the internet has gone wild. They're calling this proof of cult-like ceremonies, sex magic. If you guys know what I don't know what sex magic is. I know that Aleister Crowley used to practice sex magic. If you want to know who Aleister Crowley is, he is some conspiracy theorists, not me, some conspiracy theorists would say that he is what's George Bush Sr.'s wife. What's her name? Some conspiracy theories, not me. I wouldn't say this. This is just what some wild parts of the internet are saying. That Aleister Crowley fathered George Bush Sr.'s wife. And go and look at the pictures of her. There's also resurfaced unverified FBI reports from years back where alleged victims talk about ritualistic, you know, the thing you do to someone where they're alive and then they're like in the heavens and they're transcending as a beam of light. Well, if you do that ritualistically, things happening to babies, even eating flesh eating. Yes, people are linking this to flesh eating. Beef jerky is the code word. There's redacted photos that some say show limbs. These are flagged as hearsay, potentially unreliable. And I don't know, guys. But they're in the files now, and people are connecting them to old claims, for example, from a Dutch banker and Luciferian financial elites hold, you know, the thing with children where you get the children and something happens and then the children, you know, throwing mentions of the Dalai Lama. The rabbit hole goes so deep, guys. And even wild Mossad blackmail emails, you know, are manifested in these Epstein files. It's you've got everyone in here, right? Then you've got this lady Victoria. Is it Isabel Harvey or Victoria Harvey? Oh yes, darling. Did you see the interview? You guys seen the interview, right? Is it Lady Isabella Harvey or Victoria Harvey? Oh yes, darling. I mean, anyone's in the Epstein files. Actually, if you're not in the Epstein files, oh, you're a little bit square. Are you in the Epstein files? Why, of course, darling. I'm like, what the fuck? What? What's actually happening here? The files do reveal, you know, the files do reveal horrific, verified abuse, trafficking of young people, blackmail, elite complicity across borders. I've not seen, it's all over, I've not seen anything to me. I'm not saying it's not going on, right? I'm not saying that this is not going on. I'm saying that I have not seen any smoking gun evidence that I can say, yeah, that definitely happened. Or, you know, for me, a smoking gun isn't a picture. It's not a picture with, you know, what you would expect to see on that picture. It's not the email saying, because you've got to put all these things in context, right? You've got to put all these things in context. So yes, you know, there's been verified abuse, children being sent places that they really shouldn't have. There's verified blackmail, elite complicity across borders. Look, guys, I'm being honest with you. I've not seen, and I don't want to see actually, but that doesn't mean if I see it, I won't tell you guys. I've not seen any smoking gun, right, of the satanic stuff. I'm seeing interpretations, which may be true. They may absolutely be true. They may be true. I'm seeing people joining dots that may not be there. I'm seeing people trying to make those ends meet. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. There's no videos of any ceremonies, right? There's no confessions on tape of, you know, worshipping El Diablo. It's just weird symbolic stuff, right? Just weird stuff. And like I say, if you read my emails, and look, guys, I don't think you guys are 100% innocent either, right? What I mean by that is, if somebody read some of your emails or text messages or WhatsApp messages or whatever, and just took that one message, it could be taken out of context, right? So for me, context is everything. Still, I want to be quite clear. I'm not saying this is not happening. I'm not. I'm absolutely not saying. I'm just saying I don't want to believe, right? In a world where trust in institutions is falling quicker than the silver price, these drips, and they are drips of intelligence, are fueling the fire. If even a slither of the stuff holds water, it means we are in deep water. It means we're in deep, dark, hot water. Because you've got to understand, if this is true, then this goes right up to the top of government. It goes right up to the top of politics. It goes to royalty. Like, one of the things I used to say on this channel, I'm going to say it again, is if you had a mayor of a city in the United Kingdom and they just said, oh, well, if you gangs want to do that to girls, I'm telling the police not to pursue you and not to prosecute you. That then becomes legal, right? It's not right, but it becomes, essentially legal because nobody's, oh yeah, we can do what we want to these girls. Obviously, that would never happen in the United Kingdom because we've got a fair legal system. I'm just, hypothetically. Let's upscale that. Let's absolutely upscale that. Let's just say, I've given you this one as well. Let's just say that, they talk about children. Let's just say that next week or whatever, all the world governments together in unison say, right, your firstborn child now has to be given to the government and you never see that child again. How do you argue with that? How do you argue with that? You say no. They say, oh, well, we're sending the police. You say, oh, right, okay, done. Like, what are you going to do? We are compartmentalized now. We have been divided and we are being conquered. We are being absolutely divided and we are being conquered. So listen, guys, what do you think? What do you think? Please help me out on this. Help me out on this. If it's war, if it's tanks, if it's tactics, strategy, geopolitical posturing, weather, I am all over that and I can give you a deep, granular analysis. This sort of stuff, that one thing keeps playing in my mind. The pizza. How many celebrities? There's loads of memes now on the internet, like all sorts of celebrities saying, like, talking about pizza. Hey, do you want to come and have pizza? Yeah, I'll have a great pizza. Do you want this pizza? Yeah, I'll have that. Honestly, I feel guilty now ordering a smoky pork pizza. And I'm not going to lie, guys, a 14-inch smoky pork pizza from like where we get our pizzas from. They're phenomenal. They are absolutely phenomenal. 14-inch. Oh, God, I want one now. But I don't want to smoke. I don't want to touch pizza again. You can't unsee these things. So I'm trying to debunk as much of this as I can. And I'm trying to be as objective about it as I can. Earlier on today, I was going to come on and do a video about... I watched an interview last night of David Icke. And he was being interviewed by... the man and the woman, redacted. And some of the interview is phenomenal. If anybody's seen it, go and watch it. It's amazing. There's something in that interview about 52 minutes or whatever. And I'll do another. I will at some point. I've just been really busy today. How long has it been raining? Not only is it raining, I've got a leaky roof. It's just, I'm running around with buckets. My garden lights got water in them, so they tripped the mains. So I've had to go all around the garden, taking the light bulbs out. Right, well, it tripped again. Right. Does that work? So I've had to rewire my. I've had to rewire 3 lampposts today. Not lampposts. I've had to rewire 3 lamp. What are they called? Wall lamps? I don't know. I've had to rewire basically 3 wall lamps today. It's been an absolute faff. So that's where my time's gone today. I will jump on tomorrow, I think, and do that video because it's going to be like one of the shorter videos where I don't really take any questions. I just go with it because it is a bit wild. Like, I've been talking about wild stuff now, right? What David Icke is talking about, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying I want to try and understand what people are saying as much as possible, and I want to have the ability to offer an alternate explanation. But if what he's saying is true, there's absolutely no alternate explanations that I can respond to. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let me jump on. Oh, hang on a minute. Lisa Jane has sent a super. She's saying Googly has posted 2 important messages. Right, let me find Googly. Right, sorry, guys. Sean, you have debunked nothing. No, I've debunked loads of stuff. I debunked the... Right, let me find Googly's comments first. I'm just scrolling up. Right, where's Googly's comments? How far up are they? Right, 5 arrested after French judge kidnapped. 5 arrested after French judge kidnapped in crypto ransom plot. Okay, right. Listen, that's the first one. Okay, so there's been 5 people arrested. Right, let me get this up. Right, I'll get this up and I'll find your other one. No, it's 6. It's 6 arrested. 6 arrested, good sir. French police arrest 6 over crypto-linked magistrate kidnapping. Right, so that happened on Friday. Right, let me get the next comment and then I'll do them together. Sorry, guys, I'm just jumping up to try and get Googleinos' comments. Right, I can't find... Where's the other one? Where's the other one? I can't find the other one. Oh, there. He's saying Kaylee. I think he's... Man 35 fighting for his life after being attacked by a gang. Oh, God. Right, let me jump up, guys, and get this. Wow. Okay, right. Let me get this up. This is disgusting. Look, when I say to you, when you guys are talking about how to prepare for the fall, how to prepare for when everything collapses, and you're all talking about, oh, we're going to get this, we're going to buy this crossbow, and we're going to buy this weapon. No, run. You cannot fight this mob, guys, and that's not me being defeatist. That's me saying we need to run, find Cleethorpes, right? Find a safe area and then conduct subsequent operations from Cleethorpes, right? That's what I'm saying. Man in critical condition after attack. A man is in critical condition after being attacked in the early hours of... Wow, this was today. Police said the 35-year-old was found on Flasby Street. Jesus Christ. I honestly... with serious head injuries. Officers said they believe the man had been chased and assaulted in a targeted attack by a group armed with bats and sticks in the East Avenue area. 2 men aged 21 and 24 were also assaulted during the incident, but their injuries were not serious, police added. Large crime scene remained in place Sunday afternoon. Detective Superintendent Alan Weeks of West Yorkshire Police said, we are treating this as a very serious incident and are carrying out extensive inquiries to identify those responsible. Based on the information we have so far, we believe this has been a targeted attack on the victim, who remains in a critical condition in hospital with very serious injuries. You can't imagine, right? You can't imagine being hit on the head with a bat. When I talk about the Middle East, right, and I'm not insinuating that the people who attacked are from the Middle East. I'm just saying stoning is legal in the Middle East, and that is one of the most brutal things. If anybody's ever seen or witnessed, or like there's videos of it, like don't look at it. Definitely don't look at these. Stoning is one of the most brutal things you can like. I struggle to see how humans can do that to each other. I do. I struggle to see how humans can do that to each other. Right, let me jump over to France, because French authorities have just arrested 6 suspects, including a child. So maybe it was 5 suspects and 1 child. After a magistrate and her mother were held captive last week for about 30 hours in a cryptocurrency ransom plot. 4 men and 1 woman were detained, 3 overnight and 2 on Sunday morning. A police officer's name I'm not going to try and pronounce. He later confirmed that a child had also been arrested on Sunday afternoon. The individuals were taken into custody after discovery of the 35-year-old magistrate and her 67-year-old mother in a garage in the southeast region of somewhere. 2 of those arrested overnight were detained as they attempted to take a bus to Spain. They're hardly the getaway drivers. Like, oh God, he's getting hot out here, right? Get the bus. So what I'm reading from that, guys, is that there's been a kidnapping, and we are gonna see more of this, ladies and gentlemen, as the world starts to collapse. As the world starts to collapse, and we're all trying to make sense of what's happening, we will see more kidnappings. We will see more extortion. We will just see this racketeering. That's what it's going to be. Do you guys think that they didn't do that in Northern Ireland? Do you really think that they didn't do racketeering in North? They were like the kings of racketeering. Right, I'm just going to jump to the bottom, guys. Right. Oh, hang on. David King is saying, yeah, I think we're talking about people on drugs here. Absolutely. How long have you been stoned for? Oh, right. Yeah. Listen, guys, we shouldn't joke about that. Like, I know you're joking. I do. I know you're joking, right? I don't even smoke. If you've ever seen a stoning, right? If you've ever seen a woman stoned, it's not, honestly, I'm assuming, I'm assuming that people may have not seen that, but it's horrible, guys. It's absolutely horrible. Sean, when they put a chip in your head, will it be getting a fish cake with it? What? I don't know what that means. No idea what that means. No idea. Yeah, I've got a leaky roof. The roof is leaking. What is happening with this? What is happening with this weather, guys? It's insane. The Watchman is saying multiple Iranian tankers being captured amid tensions with the United States of America. F-22s that were supposed to be in part of the Super Bowl flyover are also being pulled over for an unknown operation. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody thinks that we are not getting ready for, do you know what will put all this Epstein files to bed? Do you know what will happen? In fact, isn't World War III supposed to start today? That didn't happen, did it? Do you know what will put all the Epstein files to bed? All Donald Trump. It's going to put everything to bed. A WW3. That will put everybody to bed. Rod Panhard is saying there must be something to Pizzagate. All these millionaires just continually eating pizza and grape soda. I never heard of the grape soda. And drinking grape soda, we'll mix it up with a steak and some wine. Listen, when I go out, I don't go to and have pizza. Absolutely not. Like, pizza's like kids' food. Right? Oh, God, I can't believe I even said that. Pizza and burgers, right? They're what you give kids. They are. I'm with you, Ron. I'm with you. Ron, I'm absolutely with you. There must be something to it, right? There's got to be something to this Pizzagate or satanic rituals. I'm trying to debunk this, right? I'm trying to think of this and think, right, all these emails, how do we know they're not fake? You know, what's like, and look, what's easier to believe? And I'm not saying it's true, but what's easier to believe? Somebody used AI to fake some emails, or there's a secret cult of blood-sucking elites who eat babies. Like, which one's the easier sell? I'm not saying it's not happening, right? I'm just saying I've not seen any evidence of it. That's all I'm saying, right? If I see evidence of it, I will point it out to you guys. I really will. Silly Gallardi is saying it's too much money and power makes people crazy. Experiment Universe 25. That may be the case, Silly. That may be the case. So if you guys don't know what Silly's talking about, Experiment Universe 25, there was two cultures. Am I right saying them cultures? There was two cultures of mice. One was living in utopia. They had food, they had warmth. It was really easy. They stopped reproducing. They started eating each other. It just turned into debauchery. All right. And then the other one, that they had to struggle, they had to fight for food. Everything was scarce. They thrived. Raven, give over. Right. Okay. Thank you for this comment, Danielle Tuddenham. Raven, give over. Lord Mountbatten, Archbishop of Canterbury, John Smith, Prince Andrew, Jimmy Savile, the British establishment are the worst. Thatcher's government is full of them. I don't know. Where's the evidence? Yes, Jimmy Savile, right? Jimmy Savile's connections to the royal family. Absolutely. Like, why does nobody talk about that? You know, why does nobody talk about Jimmy Savile and his connections to the royal family? I don't know Lord Mountbatten. I don't know the Lord of the Archbishop of Canterbury, or you know. Listen, guys, I'm not saying these things are not happening. I'm just saying I'm going through the. Listen, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I do guns, bombs, tanks, planes, trains, automobiles. I do tactics, geopolitical structuring. I do all that sort of stuff. I don't do international. I don't do like satanic. I don't know. I don't like. If I went into a room, right? Because if I went into a room and there was 10 soldiers standing there, in an instant, they wouldn't even need to look at me. In an instant, I would be able to tell you pretty much everything about them. By the way they're standing, by the way they look, by the way they've got their hands on their rifles. I would probably not everything, but I'd be able to tell you a lot, right? Because I understand that. Like, if you were like somebody who was into this sort of stuff, like into these, like, you know, these ritualistic whatevers, you would also be able to point these things out. I can't do that, guys. I can't do that. So I'm trying to give you guys as much of an objective opinion as I can. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that anyone's innocent. I'm just saying that I've not seen the definitive evidence. Right, I'm just going to jump to the bottom. I do need a wee, though, guys. I do need a wee. Right. Louise Gathin is saying Harriet Harmer was part of the... Yeah, I remember that, actually. I do remember that. Right, guys, I'm going to run to the toilet. I'll be back in less than 1 minute, all right? I will. I'll be back in less than 1 minute. Give me a second. Have you heard about the shortage of aspirin in the UK as we get it from only 2 countries? No, I've not heard about that. But like aspirin's one of the major. Yeah. So Christine, right? Christine, is that right? Christine, where's Christine? There, right. Christine's talking about spirit cooking. So you've got this woman, right? Abramovich or something, Maria Abramovich, and she is absolutely like if this woman, the Abramovich, the spirit cooking woman, if she came in like that, yeah, I'm good. I don't even want to come near you, right? I like that doesn't mean they're into bad stuff. Tracy is saying people are too distracted about what is going on, but you need to pay more attention at the World FIFA 2026. I don't know. Is something going to happen? Raven is wired to the moon. I am not wired to the moon. Do you know what I've been thinking about, right? Ever since we've been talking about pizza, I've been thinking about that smoky bacon pizza from the pizza shop down the road. And I'm thinking I should order one and then do like a video later. But then if I do a video later, right, this is how paranoid I am. I'm thinking if I do a video later, you know, at the table and I've got like the pizza there, and I'm like, hey, everyone, I'm just having pizza. I'm thinking, oh, God, are people then going to think I'm like, you know, doing like wild stuff? But then now I'm saying that, oh, God, there's so much information, guys. There's so much information going on. Holly is saying, no, don't do it. Yeah. David King is saying, here, Winter Olympics had a satanic opening. One thing I will say, one thing I will absolutely say is, like, I was watching a Lady Gaga video, right? And she's got like these she's like dressed in black with like red things on her fingernails. And I'm thinking, if she did that, right? If she did that 200 years ago, she's getting burnt at the stake, right? She's getting burnt at the stake to be a witch. Like, and then I started to go down this route and thinking, right, okay. So she's singing songs, kids are repeating them songs. Are those songs like spells and everybody's trying to ritualistically? I don't know. I'm going down a rabbit hole, guys. I am going a rabbit hole. Things seem to be pushing you down the rabbit hole, Sean. Yeah, this is what started it, right? Is Gilgamesh, right? The tomb of Gilgamesh, right? Hillary Clinton asked in the Epstein files, allegedly, I don't know, Hillary Clinton asked for information on the resurrection chamber in the, you know, Gilgamesh's resurrection chamber. Now, if you even accept that Gilgamesh was real, then you've got to accept his parents were real, right? Because, you know, he's Gilgamesh. If you accept his parents are real, that means you accept that aliens are real. If you accept that those particular aliens are real, then that means that humans are a slave race bred for aliens, basically, as a, you know, as a workforce. So it's just, these are the bitter pills to swallow, guys. These are bitter pills to swallow. I would much rather be talking about wars and guns and tanks and, you know, I was talking to my friend earlier in Ukraine, maybe last night, actually. He was telling me where he lives, he only gets 3 to 4 hours of electricity every day. That's all he gets. 3 to 4 hours of electricity. Can you imagine how to live with 3 to 4 hours of electricity every day? I said, what do you do? He says, well, when the electricity turns on, I have to go and he has to do something with his water pump, because his water pump for his central heating won't work, obviously, with no electricity. So when the electricity turns on, he has to go and turn the water pump. But he says, for the sake of 3 hours, the house doesn't even get warm. So he doesn't even bother. So he just stays under his blanket most days. And like, might drive around in his car. It's wild, guys. It really is wild what's happening right now. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, I'm going to give a quick synopsis. If you're joining for the first time, we have been talking about the satanic rituals that have been revealed, allegedly, for entertainment purposes, in the Epstein files. Now, whether you believe them or whether you do not, something darker is happening. So the two options, so whether you believe them or not, right? You either believe them or you do not. If you do not believe that there is some sort of satanic rituals happening right now in the world, absolutely fine. Why are we being told that there is, right? Why are we being told, and why is all this information coming out saying that, child and pizza and all the rest of it? Why is that information coming out, right? If you think it's real, and there really is, some sort of global elites, there's a global elite moving between borders and they're feasting on flesh. I mean, listen, I shared with you guys the video about Puff Daddy, right? You guys, like yesterday, I was talking about Puff Daddy. He had a blood boy. Yo, I got myself a blood boy. Hey, you little blood boy, get your fine ass over here, my little blood boy. I want to suck your blood. I'm not making that up. Puff Daddy, well, do you know what? I may be making it up. I watched a video where there was a gentleman who claimed, I don't know what's real anymore, guys. It could all be AI, right? It could all be AI. There was a video, I shared it with you guys. There was a video where there was a guy, he claimed that Puff Daddy gave him 10 grand. I think it was 10,000. You'll have to go and watch my other video. $10,000 per blood transfusion, right? That's done medically. Like, what kind of a doctor does that? I mean, hello, I will give anyone a blood transfusion. Yes. So, like, okay, so blood transfusions. What about the next thing? Literally, that's where we're going, right? If you go down that road of Puff Daddy took blood transfusions from his blood boy, right? If you entertain that idea, you've got to think, where does that evolve into? Oh yeah, Puff Daddy did that once. Yeah, he did that one thing because he was really, it's a thing. People who party hard, people who take narcotics, they need to be regenerated with blood. And Puff Daddy, allegedly, and I don't know if this is true, guys. I don't know what's true anymore. Yes, I saw a video. Of a guy claiming that this had happened. Does not mean that it happened, right? It doesn't mean that it happened. It doesn't. Even now, even if I saw that video, but this is how wild things are, right? Even if I saw that video, I would say, yeah, it could be AI. We don't know what we're seeing anymore, guys. We don't know what we're seeing anymore. It's just some absolutely wild stuff. Search jerky. Yeah, I have. I know exactly what the code word for jerky is. I know what jerky is the code word for. It's crazy. It's bonkers. It's wild. I don't want to believe it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to believe it. And I'm going to do another video tomorrow, right? I'm going to do another video midday tomorrow. And I'm going to talk about this. It's going to be a reaction video to something that David Icke said on a podcast the other day. And I'm going to be covering all this wilder stuff. Googleinos is saying, as the fine 500 grand for selling out-of-date food in UK store. That's excessive. I eat out-of-date food all the time. It's a lot cheaper. Louise Gavin is saying, then here we have scientists doing it with rats. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Cindy Archer is saying they want to be like gods, but who are the gods? Who are the gods? Are they aliens? Are the gods aliens? Are the gods, trans-dimensional mutants? Sherry Hubblestone is saying, Sean, have you seen the film 2012? Absolutely, I've seen 2012. I can remember when we watched 2012. Is 2012 with the... No. Is 2012 with the flood and the ice? Is that... What's the movie where he has to make his way back over the ice to get his son and he's in New York? No, that's Day After Tomorrow. Yes, I have seen 2012. That's where they've got the aeroplane and they're going on the submarines, right? Sean, have you seen the film 2012? Yes. I've never noticed before until I seen a clip today. The stuff they were saying is all happening. I'm going to rewatch. Do you know what? I will give that a rewatch as well. I will give that a rewatch. What I would suggest everybody to watch, hang on. What I would suggest everybody to watch, right, is Independence Day, the first one, the first Independence Day. Go and watch that movie again. If you've got any understanding of symbolism or the occult, go and watch that movie again. David King is saying They Live is a good movie. Like, I only watched They Live like last year, like the back end of last year. Yeah, like that is a wild movie. Like, I don't even know if that's a movie. I think that's a documentary. They Live is epic. It is epic. It is. Watch Men in Black. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if we're all wanting movies, if we're all saying what movies to watch, everybody should watch Lord of the Rings director's cut. That's it. That's all you need to watch. Literally, that's all you need to do. It will give you so much. It will give you so much. And Googleinos is saying, breaking news. Norwegian diplomat stepped down over Epstein ties in widening scandal. It's just bonkers, right? It is bonkers what's happening. Like, if you, like, when you live through something, you never realize how wild it is. Like, we all lived through, like, COVID-19. Well, I assume we all lived through, I hope we all lived through COVID-19. When you're telling your kids in the future that you lived through COVID-19, and you're telling them how, we had to wear these face masks and, we were only allowed to get so much stuff from the shops and it was wild. I promise you, you will be telling your kids about, like, right now, we had this time and all this information was coming out. They were talking about satanic rituals revealed in these Epstein files, and there was darker things going on. And then we were plummeted into World War III and then World War IV. It's crap. Everything's insane right now, guys. Everything is insane. Max is saying aliens are something that are of the imagination. You can't put your finger on it, never having seen them. No, I've never seen an alien, guys. I'll admit I've never seen anything like this. And this is why, like, and I've been some places, right? So I always struggle, right? And I always try, I will always, like, you get these debunkers, right? You get people who debunk things, but they really have to bend over to try and debunk things. If I can debunk something easy, I will go to that. If it's starting to be a stretch of the imagination to debunk it, then I will say, no, I can't. And listen, coming back to the satanic rituals revealed in the Epstein files, the one thing that I can't shake it, guys, is the amount of celebrities that talk about eating pizza. I can't shake that, guys. I absolutely can't shake that. I just can't shake it. And when you're doing these investigations, right? When you're doing an investigation, there's always one thing that, like, bites at you, and you can't quite. For me, it's this pizza thing. It's just insane how many how many people have been talking. There's loads of clips on X, on YouTube about celebrities. Hey man, we're gonna come over and have some pizza. It may be something, there may be a logical explanation, right? Pizza, it's not pretentious, everybody likes it, so just say pizza. That may just be the go-to thing. You know, like if people are saying, oh, Sean, we're coming to your house, I'll say, yeah, you're coming to my house, you're having a rare beef Wellington for starters, right? You're then going to have a tomahawk steak for your main. You're then going to have a ribeye for your dessert, like with some mustard on it or something. You know, people would think I was a dick, and that may be true. But that's what adults have, right? The kids don't like that shit. They like pizzas and burgers and chicken nuggets and dips. Sean, do you think man landed on the moon? Oh God, listen, have humans been to the moon? We're going down a hole here. I'll tell you what I've always said, and I've not changed, right? I've not changed my opinion. If it was a conspiracy, right? If this was a conspiracy and nobody's ever been to the moon, then the Russians were in on it. If the Russians were in on it, then that gives more weight to this like global conspiracy, right? That gives more weight because the Russians would definitely have the ability to track that and the telemetry equipment to be able to track those moon missions. And I totally get it. If you look at the moon landing videos now and just look at them, right? They look ridiculous. They look so ridiculous. And you're thinking like, what? And then you look and you think, oh yeah, NASA taped over the original moon landing files. They're like, oh, what? You taped over them? Yeah. Like the most important event in history. Yeah. The Super Bowl was on and Mickey didn't have a spare tape. So we said, what can we tape over? Debbie Does Dallas, Rita, Sue and Bob too. No, they're prime. Get the moon landings taped over. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? It makes no sense taping over the moon landings. It's just, it's ridiculous. That, whatever. It might have happened. I don't know. It might have happened. I don't know. Could be a mistake. It could be code. They could have had a fire that they didn't want to say there was a fire because of health and safety. That film was I don't know. There's lots of different, we don't have NASA don't have the telemetry readings from the, what? You don't have the telemetry readings? All right, okay, that's ones and zeros, whatever. Okay, you don't have that either. Was it on the tapes? Yeah, okay, whatever. And and NASA don't have the technology to go back to the moon. Seems suspicious, ladies and gentlemen. Seems very suspicious. Sean Pearsons is saying, how could they possibly calculate how much fuel they would need? No chance. I agree. Absolutely no chance. I've been on missions in the military where you're really low on fuel, where you hear me out, guys. Obviously, this is not space, right? This is not space, but it is operating in a hostile environment, right? And if anybody's flown over the mountains of Afghanistan at night, they pretty much look like the moon. So I've been on operations in the military where you're flying out in a helicopter and you are right on the red line because obviously you've got to get there and you've got to get back because the helicopters, our particular helicopters didn't have refueling spikes with them, so that wasn't an option. Now, you can say, for example, the question is, how could they possibly fly to the without calculating the fuel? You can say, we estimate the fuel to be this much, and you go on your mission. If your fuel drops below X, whatever it is, you just say, right, that's a red line. We come straight back. because that means you've got no fuel. So even if you can't calculate the fuel, you can still give yourselves those triggers. Was the space shuttle really CGI PR model? I don't think it was made out of matchsticks, no. Rod Panhard is saying there's more computing power today in a 199 pocket calculator. I wouldn't say one. Yeah, I know what you mean though. The computing power back then in the what was it, 660? What was it, 69? Yeah, it was very low, very low. But again, you don't need that much computing power, right? You don't need that much computing power. And I know I'm playing a devil's advocate, right? But like moon, yeah, seeing it, right? Fly up there, okay. Which way are you going? Mark, I can see it. I'm just gonna, you know. And Googleinos is saying Keir Starmer dealt a new blow by Ukrainian red. Oh no, sorry, that's not what Googleinos said at all. Sorry guys, that's not what Googleinos said at all. Keir Starmer dealt a new blow as union boss calls for leadership change over Mandelson scandal. Look, I said this before, right? I said this before. If Mandelson, do you know who Mandelson was renting his house off? Allegedly, Mandelson was renting his house off one of the Rothschilds. Just throwing it out there. Yeah. So listen, guys. Everybody that thinks that Keir Starmer leaving is going to be a good thing, it's not going to change a thing. It's going to change absolutely nothing. In fact, it probably make things worse, right? Who's in the front running in the United Kingdom? We've got David Lammy with his vast intellectual capacity. We've got Shabina Mahmood and her diversity and alliance to Islam. And 3 Pads Rayner who'll do out for a couple of quid, allegedly. And all those things are speculatively, allegedly. Somebody told me on the internet, all right? So people are saying that, like, they want to get rid of... It doesn't matter, guys. Honestly, it really doesn't matter. Right, I'm literally just going to jump to the bottom. John is saying... what I really do find strange is we've not gone back since... I think he's talking about the moon here. Even though... Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's weird that humans have not gone back to the moon. It's weird that we don't have a colony on the moon. It's weird unless there are already aliens up there and they're telling us not to go back up. Hang on. Googleinos is saying, Sean, Lord Ali and Keir Starmer are in the Epstein files. Look up Lord Ali. Guys, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on, I'm going to close this down. Oh, geez, I'm going to close this down real soon, actually. If you're on right now, I whistle blew to you about the connections to Lord Ali, Keir Starmer, Jeffrey Epstein long ago. I said this. I'm very suspicious why the mainstream media have not clicked those 3 buttons on Wikipedia. Very simple to do. Very simple to do. Lord Ali, click. Who did Lord Ali work for? Click. Who did he work for? Click. Oh, yeah, that's a huge problem. The Triggered Christian is saying the moon landing is all a bit sus, if you ask me. It is indeed. It's all a bit sus. There's a lot of sus things happening. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I have been talking today about the wildness in the satanic rituals revealed in the Epstein files. I don't know if it's true. There's one thing that I can't shake, and that's the continued use of the word pizza by all these celebrities. Maybe something innocent. I don't know. But what I do know is something darker is clearly happening. The 2 options, you only have 2. You can't have half Like, you can't have, oh, we have satanic rituals, but they're only half satanic. You can't have half satanic rituals, right? So you either have satanic rituals are happening or they are not, right? If satanic rituals are happening, then it speaks for itself, right? Dark things are happening. If satanic rituals are not happening, then why are we being told they're happening? Why are we being led down this rabbit hole? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm going to go now. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Been fantastic. You guys have been beautiful and amazing. And did I say fantastic? I think I did. Articulate and intelligent. There was no beef in the chat, which is always great. No beef in the chat. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. I bid you all good evening.